If your body feels older than your age, something deeper is happening. Not just getting older, not just bad luck. There are quiet systems inside the body that begin slowing down years before symptoms appear, and most people never notice until the damage becomes part of daily life. What most people don't realize is that aging rarely announces itself dramatically. It happens through tiny shifts that feel harmless at first. A little more fatigue after lunch, slight stiffness getting out of bed, forgetting why you walked into a room, needing longer to recover from simple tasks. People brush these things off because they happen gradually, but this goes deeper than you think. The body does not suddenly become old one day. It slowly stops repairing itself efficiently. And many of the habits people think are helping them age comfortably are actually accelerating the decline underneath the surface. Let me explain something that surprises almost everyone. Have you ever wondered why some people reach 75 and still move naturally, think clearly, and stay independent, while others become fragile almost overnight? Most people assume it's genetics. They believe certain people are simply lucky. But here's what's actually happening. Aging is heavily shaped by the signals your body receives every single day. The body constantly asks one question: do I still need to stay strong for this person's lifestyle? And the answer comes from routine. Think about the average morning for many older adults. Wake up, sit immediately, coffee, television, minimal movement, small repetitive routines, comfortable patterns, nothing physically demanding, nothing mentally challenging. The body interprets that lifestyle as reduced necessity, so it begins conserving energy instead of maintaining performance. Muscle slowly disappears, balance weakens, circulation slows down, brain stimulation decreases, not because the body is failing randomly, but because it's adapting to lower demand. This is why inactivity ages people so aggressively after retirement. Not because retirement itself is harmful, but because many people unconsciously remove challenge from life entirely. And the human body is extremely responsive to challenge. Without it, systems begin shutting down quietly. A study from the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity found that older adults who maintained regular purposeful movement preserved cognitive function and mobility significantly longer than those who remained mostly sedentary. But the important detail isn't just exercise, it's purpose-driven movement. The body responds differently when movement feels connected to life itself. That's why gardening, walking to a store, carrying groceries, fixing things around the house, or playing with grandchildren often helps seniors more than isolated gym routines they hate doing. The body wants reasons to stay capable. And once you understand that, you stop seeing aging as a countdown and start seeing it as negotiation. Now, here's another hidden pattern almost nobody talks about. Why do so many people feel exhausted even after sleeping for 8 hours? Most people think aging naturally destroys energy, but what's actually happening is that the body's recovery systems become disrupted long before people notice obvious illness. And one of the biggest causes is something incredibly ordinary: constant low-level inflammation. Not dramatic inflammation, not visible swelling, silent inflammation, the kind caused by poor sleep timing, stress, processed foods, loneliness, inactivity, blood sugar spikes, and even certain medications used for years without re-evaluation. Here's the strange part. Chronic inflammation changes how the brain interprets energy. It creates a constant background signal telling the body to conserve resources. So people wake up feeling off without understanding why. They assume it's age, but many times the body is behaving as if it's under ongoing internal stress. This is why some seniors suddenly feel 10 years younger after fixing sleep patterns, improving digestion, walking daily, or reducing ultra-processed foods. The body wasn't simply old, it was overloaded. And digestion plays a much bigger role in this than most people realize. Have you noticed how many older adults slowly start eating smaller and smaller varieties of food? Toast, tea, crackers, simple comfort meals, easy foods. At first it seems harmless, but here's what's actually happening. Aging already reduces nutrient absorption naturally. Stomach acid decreases, Digestive enzymes weaken. The gut becomes less efficient. So when diet quality also shrinks, the body quietly starts operating with nutrient shortages for years. Not starvation, functional shortages. Low magnesium, low B vitamins, low protein intake, low potassium. Small deficiencies that slowly affect energy, memory, muscle preservation, and even mood. And because the decline is gradual, people normalize it. They say things like, I'm just slowing down. I don't have the energy I used to. My memory isn't what it was. Meanwhile, the body is simply underfueled. What most people don't realize is that muscle loss after 60 accelerates dramatically if protein intake becomes too low. And many seniors accidentally undereat protein because softer carb-heavy foods feel easier to digest and prepare. The scary part is that muscle is not just about appearance. Muscle is metabolic protection. It stabilizes blood sugar, supports balance, protects joints, improves circulation, even helps the brain indirectly through movement and metabolic health. This is why two people at the same age can look completely different physically and cognitively. One body is still receiving signals to maintain strength. The other has quietly entered conservation mode, and this next part is something almost nobody wants to admit. Loneliness physically changes the body, not emotionally. Physically, research from the National Institute on Aging has repeatedly linked long-term social isolation to increased inflammation, faster cognitive decline, poorer heart health, and higher mortality risk. But here's why this matters so much. Human beings regulate stress through connection, conversation, laughter, shared routines, feeling needed, feeling seen. When those disappear, the nervous system often stays in a low-grade stress state for years. Cortisol patterns shift, sleep worsens, motivation drops, movement decreases. Eating habits change. The body slowly begins functioning like it's surviving instead of living. And many older adults never recognize this because loneliness doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it just looks like quiet routines repeated every day without variation. Wake up, eat, watch television, sleep, repeat. The body feels that repetition. The brain feels it too. This is why purpose becomes more important with age, not less. A person with responsibilities, conversations, routines, goals, or even small daily commitments often maintains sharper energy because the brain still believes tomorrow matters. And that belief changes biology more than people think. But there's one final pattern that may be the most important of all. Have you noticed how quickly older adults decline after one injury, one fall, or one hospitalization? It shocks families every time. Someone seems mostly okay, then suddenly everything changes. Here's what's actually happening. The body becomes less resilient with age, meaning recovery reserves shrink. So one disruption doesn't stay isolated anymore. A fall reduces movement. Reduced movement weakens muscles. Weak muscles worsen balance. Poor balance increases fear. Fear reduces activity further. And suddenly the body enters a downward spiral that accelerates aging rapidly. That spiral is one of the biggest hidden dangers of aging, and most people don't realize the real goal of healthy aging is not living forever. It's preserving independence for as long as possible, because the deepest fear most people carry about aging is not wrinkles, it's losing control over ordinary life. Walking freely, remembering clearly, using the bathroom independently, cooking meals, driving, holding conversations without confusion, living without depending completely on others. That's the part people rarely say out loud. Aging is not just about survival. It's about whether your body still feels like home. And the people who age best are usually not the ones chasing miracle supplements or anti-aging hacks. They're the ones who continue giving their body reasons to stay alive, alert, strong, and engaged with life itself. Because what most people call aging is often years of accumulated signals telling the body to slowly let go. And the beautiful part is many of those signals can still be changed. Now, let me show you something even more unsettling. Have you ever wondered why people suddenly become old after a certain age, even when they seemed fine just a few years earlier? You see it all the time. Someone reaches their late 60s or early 70s, and almost suddenly their posture changes. Their face looks more tired, their energy drops, they stop going out as much. Their personality becomes quieter. Families say things like, age finally caught up. But this goes deeper than you think. In many cases, the body did not suddenly collapse. The person slowly stopped recovering. That's the real shift. Young bodies are constantly repairing damage in the background. Tiny muscle tears, inflammation, hormonal fluctuations, poor sleep, stress, blood sugar spikes. The body absorbs these hits and repairs them quietly overnight. But as people age, repair speed slows down. And once repair becomes slower than damage accumulation, aging starts becoming visible. That is the moment many people mistake for normal aging. Think about modern daily life for a second. Most older adults wake up already stressed. News first thing in the morning, phones, financial worries, family concerns, poor sleep, minimal sunlight, processed breakfast foods, sitting for hours. Tiny stress signals stacked one after another every single day. Individually, none of these seem catastrophic. Together, they create biological exhaustion. And here's what most people don't realize. The body treats emotional stress almost like physical danger. The nervous system does not clearly separate a tiger chasing you from chronic worry about money, loneliness, or health fears. The body still releases stress hormones. Heart rate changes, blood vessels tighten, sleep quality decreases, digestion weakens. When this continues for years, the body begins aging faster internally than externally. This is why some people look young for their age, while others seem drained long before old age truly arrives. It's not just genetics, it's cumulative physiological stress. And one of the biggest hidden accelerators of aging is poor sleep quality. Not simply sleeping fewer hours, fragmented sleep. Have you noticed how many older adults wake up multiple times during the night? Bathroom trips, restlessness, random waking, light sleep. People normalize this completely, they joke about it. But here's what's actually happening behind the scenes. Deep sleep is when the brain cleans itself. Literally. During deep sleep, the brain activates waste clearance systems that remove metabolic debris associated with cognitive decline and memory problems. Researchers at places like the University of Rochester have studied this process extensively through what's called the glymphatic system. When sleep becomes fragmented year after year, the brain loses efficiency in this cleanup process. And the terrifying part is that memory decline often starts long before obvious symptoms appear. That forgotten name, that missed appointment, walking into a room and forgetting why, repeating stories. People laugh these moments off constantly. But sometimes the brain is quietly struggling under years of poor recovery. Now, obviously, not every memory lapse means something serious. But what most people miss is that brain aging often begins invisibly, and lifestyle patterns either speed it up or slow it down dramatically. This is why routines matter so much more with age than when people are younger. A younger body can survive chaos for years. Older bodies cannot. Now let's talk about something people almost never connect to aging properly: balance. Most people think balance problems start in the legs, but balance actually begins in the brain. The eyes, inner ear, muscles, joints, and nervous system constantly communicate to keep the body upright. Thousands of tiny calculations happen every second while walking. But here's the problem. Modern life removes balance challenges almost completely. People stop walking on uneven ground, stop climbing stairs, stop moving naturally, stop using stabilizing muscles. Their environment becomes overly controlled and predictable. So the nervous system slowly loses sharpness,